So Project Ohio is it's a way for us as Ohio cooperatives to get back to our roots. It is what we were set up to do in the first place, which was to bring electricity to places where bigger businesses had left behind. When you think about roughly 1 in 7 people in the world still don't have electricity, you can't have running water without electricity. You can't have plumbing, sanitation. You can't have clean sanitary water without electricity. You can't have refrigeration without electricity. So a lot of things that we take for granted is just basic health things. So for me, it was an opportunity to connect us back to what we were set up to do in the first place, and to really change the lives of people in a part of the world that has been left behind by the rest of us.
Project Ohio, it's a way for Ohio's electric cooperatives to reach beyond themselves. We're fulfilling part of our commitment as a cooperative with concern for community, but we're reaching beyond the traditional concern for community. And we're touching lives where Guatemala, 80% electrified, 20% not. There's no plans to give the 20% electricity. And the only way that they're ever going to get it is if someone like NRECA International can find a statewide co-ops, whoever they can partner with, to be able to do these projects. And so Project Ohio was formed on that basis.
I think the project, though, is going to teach us a lot about our own strengths. You know, he's going to get to go down there and figure out what he can do physically and mentally, and it's going to be so rewarding for him. But it's also, you know, feel confident. Like, I'll feel confident even with him not being there, like knowing that we can get it done, and it's really a joint group effort. He's going to do the hard part, but but it teaches you a lot about yourself when you go through hard things like this, what you can do.
The reason I chose to participate in this project was that was the only way I knew to experience what the linemen knew back in the 1930s when they started the co-ops. I thought it would be a rewarding thing to bring power to some place that has never had power before.
The opportunity to be able to go somewhere and see an area like it was in the 30s, where you didn't have the option of power then, and see the way people lived, accent their lives in a way that going ahead gives them tremendous opportunity. And it's kind of a way to give back from what's been given to me. It was rewarding.
You know, I knew it was going to be poverty-stricken. You just seeing the other videos from the other crews that it went, but seeing it in real life really hits home. No running water. It makes you think about all the stuff we take for granted. I can go to my house and, turn on a shower and take a shower, and there, the villagers, for us, they every night would boil hot water for us in a wash pan, and we'd take it into a wooden room, and the things that we take for granted, they were so grateful for everything they had, so they didn't, that's their norm, so it didn't seem out of place for them, I guess.
When you leave La Soledad and you see the way that the people live, and you realize how good you have it in the United States. No matter what you say about the American government, it's still way better than theirs. And just their living conditions compared to ours, it's true culture shock. It's true culture shock. The first night we arrived, it was dark. You really didn't get to see, there's no lights anywhere. You didn't get to see anything that the truck headlights didn't show you. Really. So pulled into the schoolyard with the trucks, and a major portion of the village was there to greet us. It was surprising, even after dark, that they all made the journey down the hill and down the mountain.
My first impressions of the village, and I remember this vividly, was we pulled up and we were standing in the courtyard of the school, and it was pitch black. And there was people waiting on us. People were excited that we were there, and they had made signs, and the way that we were able to see them is we turned all the lights on the pickups. So then you have made a connection with real people. That's what made the project so neat once we turned the power on, because when you first show up, everything is pitch black at night. You can't see much beyond your hand except for maybe the stars. And then once the project was done and the school light turned on and you can see the tops of the hills, it was fantastic.
Life for them, I mean, it was plain to see early on the first few days we worked on a project until we got lights there. I mean, it was, when it got dark, it was dark, you know, and you didn't see a whole lot of people outside doing very much. After we got electricity, you know, the kids were outside under the lights playing soccer or football or whatever. It was, yeah, it was, you could see it was kind of a daylight to dark kind of life, and life shut down once it got dark. Growing up there, I don't know that the kids really knew any different. I mean, I guess they thought that was probably normal. There was a lot of the kids you saw in the yards and stuff or on the porches that were playing with just anything that they could play with, whether it be a stick or there was one kid that picked up a piece of wood, and at first I thought it was just a piece of wood. And he picked it up, and he had a big grin on his face, and he flipped it over, and here it had guitar strings on it, looked like made out of fishing line. And he had started playing that for Gary and I, and it was just, that just brought tears to your eyes to see that that's what they played with. So I don't know if the kids really knew, you know, and I think work is a lot of what they know once they get a little bit older.
The schoolhouse in La Soledad is a one-room structure. Currently, I think it's mainly, you know, first grade to sixth grade. And it appeared to us that only about half the kids were going to school. And of those half, most of them would only go to about the fourth grade, and then they would get pulled out to go work. So getting power to the school, and now they have a computer, printer, monitor. That was our emphasis, was, you know, now you've got this, you know, send your sons and your daughters to school and continue to send them to school. You know, don't pull them out to work. So hopefully with electricity in the homes, you know, now you can get a corn grinder rather than doing it manually. That should save on labor. So rather than a kid spending 5 hours a day grinding corn, hey, let them read a book or let them go to school.
When we bring power to them, we're not only bringing light, we're bringing the power of education, the power to help themselves, the power of freedom, the power to help make their lives easier. You know, the electricity is going to make their life so much easier by allowing them more time to maybe spend with their kids that they didn't have time before.
Challenges of working in La Soledad were the hills, or the mountains. I mean, because everywhere you went, you were either walking up the hill or down the hill. There wasn't walking on a flat surface ever, because the entire village is built on a hillside, and it kind of goes down into a valley then, and then you go back up on the other side. You know, we knew that we were 13 hours from the airport, over some tough terrain. So you knew you were separated, you know. You were out in the boonies, and it was going to be a trial to get back if you had to get back in a hurry.
The teamwork that we had with the villagers, there was only 17 on our team, and the work we had to do, it seemed like it was going to be a lot, and it was going to be tough to get it all done. But the help that they provided with us made it so much easier. You could point the people in a direction you wanted them to go and explain it to them, and they were good with it. They were off and running and helping us do anything and everything that they could. So when it was all said and done, there was way more than 17 of us that worked on that project.
I mean, I want to say that we worked hard over there, that we did, but those villagers, I mean, they're amazing. They did all the hard work. They bought and purchased all the poles. They hand dug every hole and set those poles on the side of mountainsides that were unbelievable. They did the hardest work. We worked hard, but they did all the hard work. The real hard stuff that you can't only imagine. I mean, When you first get there and you look at the job, it's overwhelming because you see all the mountainous terrain and you're like, how are we going to get this done in the short time frame that we got? And it all just starts going together. These people have the hardest work ethic that you can imagine. It's easy working for people that want to help themselves like that. I mean, it's so rewarding to know that you're not giving a handout. You're giving this to somebody that's willing to go the extra mile right along beside you right there. They'll work hand in hand with you. Whether or not they know what you're saying or I know what they're saying, you know they're working hard just as hard as you are. So that makes it rewarding.
If they saw us putting our pack on our back, you didn't get away with it very often because they would start talking amongst themselves and then they would want to carry your pack. It was really neat to see them. They were proud to put that pack on and carry it from pole to pole.
Yeah, Sunday was our day of rest, and we had an option of leaving the village and going to town if we wanted to. And most of us, after we'd made the trip to the top of the mountain, we decided we'd just stay there and relax. So that's what we did. Yeah, and during that there was a lot of kids that came out to play. They broke out the soccer balls, the footballs, the frisbees and stuff like that, and just interacted with the kids. And they were just like kids at Christmas time. They had something to play with. They didn't care what it was, but they were going to make the best of it. And yeah, they spent like the whole day pretty much there in the schoolyard playing and screaming and laughing and stuff like that.
We got a chance to have a break on the first Sunday we were there. After about 6 days of work, Dwight said that, on the following tomorrow, on Saturday or Sunday, he said, we'll take you all back into Wayway Tenango and we can go out to eat. And we looked at him and said, Dwight, that's a 5-hour ride one way to Wayway. We've all kind of talked, we don't want to go. Can we just stay here? And he said, sure. He says, what do you want to do? And we said, well, we want to get the kids down here. We'll have a soccer game and play football, frisbee. And so that's what we did. And we spent the whole day doing that. And the kids loved it. There's just hundreds of kids there of all ages. And so they got a kick out of playing football, frisbee. We had some beach balls that we blew up and they were knocking around. You don't see a lot of parent-children interaction as far as let's go out and play catch, So I think the kids enjoyed that, hey, some adults are paying attention to us in this manner, throwing the ball, throwing the frisbee. Parents don't have time. Yeah, the parents are working. A lot of the fathers have to travel. They have to leave the village and work somewhere else, usually at a lower elevation where there are coffee farms and other kind of crops.
You could tell that the villagers were grateful, especially when on the day when we were going around and turning the lights on inside of their houses, because we'd go through and energize the transformer and go into the house and flip the breaker and teach them how to work the breaker and how to work the switches. And these women that were very standoffish and quiet before didn't think twice about giving you a hug. I can see life changing quite a bit for them. I know that before we even left, we saw a Toyota truck going through the village with a refrigerator on it. That was like the day after we turned the lights on. There was already a refrigerator being delivered to the village.
To see the lights for the first time, yeah, some of the women and the children, you could see their faces just light up when you took the child and showed the child how to push the light switch to turn the light on. It was amazing, like they had really done something.
The first night that we turned on the lights in the village, there was a lady. She looked at us, and the interpreter looked at us, and she says you guys are angels, that you were sent here from God. And then she was 65 years old, and she never thought that she'd ever see the day that she'd have power in her house, and she was just so thankful. It's the moments like that touch you forever. I mean, you're not human if you don't shed a few tears. Us linemen, we tell ourselves we're tough, but when you see something like that, you know you impacted somebody's life, and that's the things that touch me. That's why I wanted to do this. You know, being a dad and a parent, those are great moments, and these will be ones that'll live right with them.
To participate in this project, it was, I think it was probably a life-changing event. I feel like in the beginning, I thought what we were going to do would be a big part in it, but it was really just a small part because of what the NRECA did and what OREC did and what the villagers did. Our part was just very small, just to be there and to guide them and to give our expertise. You know what I mean, to make it all come together and happen. I guess the sacrifice that we made was still small compared to what they've done. You know what I mean? I guess we went for 2.5 weeks to rough it. You know what I mean? And not knowing what to expect, not knowing what we would have to eat and that kind of stuff. We knew there was an end in sight. We knew we were going to come back to this country and have a cushy life like we do compared to them, where they have that day in and day out. Their thought process for the day, I think, is survival, and I don't think they even focus on tomorrow or the next day. It's so important to think about that day and getting by that it's just a totally different world. And at the same time, when we went there, we got to see a lot of things that we wouldn't normally get to see. You know, the beauty of the landscape, the beauty of the people there, the way other people live, and other things in the country of Guatemala itself. So I think that part of that offsets what we give up, the time away from our families and the time away from our job. And it was nice to be off the grid or unplugged from the cell phones and the iPads and the constant demand of everything that we have here today.
They taught me to forget the technology we have back here. Forget about the cell phones and the Twitter and the Snapchat. Forget about all that stuff and just focus on the beauty that's in front of you. I guess that's what they taught me. Focus on the thing that's in front of me, everything. Don't worry about, I got to get this email answered or I got to send a text to somebody. Focus on life today.
If you ever get the chance to do it, do it. It's good for your heart. It's good for your head. You know, the work is tough, but it's no worse than it is really here at home. The food is rougher, the sleep is rougher, but it's all worth it in the end. It's just incredible to see, you know, from the youngest to the oldest, the joy that they have. Just there was an elderly lady that hugged one of the guys that told him, she says, I never believed that I would live long enough to see this in my village. And it's just it's incredible. It's incredible.
I would tell anybody that's thinking about doing this that you need to do it. It will fill your heart with so much joy to see these villagers smile from ear to ear. I mean, you won't be able to put it all in words, and you won't want to put it in words. You just want to sit back and reflect on all the stuff that you accomplished with those people. You got to do this. I mean, it is so rewarding.
All in all, if you got the chance, just do it. You know, just do it. It's you'll never have anything like it. At least I haven't. Never in my life. You know, I'll go back in a second.
Well, I guess my advice for anybody that thought of participating in anything like this, whether it's in the States or in another country or whatever, I guess if you halfway consider it, I think you need to do it. I think it's something that you will never regret. I think you will probably bring back more than you ever give. You know, I told Dwight that somewhere I'd heard that there was three ways that you can give, and time, talent, and treasure. And I think if you can do any of those, I think it'll be rewarding. I think it's a time well spent. It is.